Well, not by choice. We had a little flood here yesterday, and I had to move to the back because these gigantic fans were blowing up front, and you can't hear yourself think. So glad to be here with you tonight, though. It's going to be a good night. A lot of good things to discuss. Hey, there is a football god in heaven. Vanderbilt opens up as a 2.5 point favorite over LSU. The first time since 1978. Vandy has been favorite in an SEC game. Wow. That's amazing. Who would have thought that? Congratulations to the Doors. And also, tonight we'll talk a little bit about the fact that Curt Cignetti just got a huge contract to stay in Indiana. Who would have thought Indiana football was Sunday because that's your force? Congratulations to Curt Cignetti. He started out making chump change. Now he's making big time money for a long time. So he goes off the board if he was ever on there. I have breaking news tonight regarding the Florida situation. I'm talking with a man tonight who said that there was a meeting on Wednesday night with key boosters. And I'll tell you more about that. Some things that we can pretty well count on. This suffice to say that Billy's days are numbered, and I don't think he's going to last past the weekend. That's just my projection. I don't know that, but it's sounding like that, don't you think? On the program tonight, we got Ben is back. Ben Troupe, the great tight end, 84 Reasons, joins us momentarily to get his take on how things are shaping up in Gainesville. There are other stories going on up there, by the way. And last night we had a terrific interview with Kelly Ray about women's basketball. And we really enjoyed that. And other things are happening. How about the volleyball team beating Tennessee in Knoxville? A huge win for the volleyball program. So other sports are going on. Then, of course, the basketball season is about to open up. Franz will be here tonight to talk about that. There's stuff. Meanwhile, Florida looks for a new coach. I don't know who's going to be. Do you? Stay tuned. We'll talk about it together coming up right here with Ben Troupe, Franz Beard, and other friends.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening and welcome. This is the New Digs back here tonight. I talked about I'm away from all the big fans. We had a flood here the day before yesterday. And we have huge fans throughout the house, and you can't hear yourself think. So my wife and her sister are in the next room. Doors closed. You might hear a hum. That's the best we can do tonight. I'm sure it'll be okay with you, and it might be okay with this guy too. Ben Troupe joins the program tonight. Much to talk about regarding the coaching situation. All kinds of speculation, all kind of list people got, etc. All I can tell you is that I was told by my really great source who knows all things. I got to give him a nickname. That the boosters met this week over at Stewsbury Ground Grill. Ben Troupe's taking a nap right now, but and the boosters said the money's there. Let's go forward. Matt Hayes reported something like that earlier today. I confirmed it through my source who has really good information. And he said that that the sentiment is they wanted to make a change and move forward. Now, I can't tell you what that means exactly, but I can pretty well assume I know what is going to happen. It's not good for Billy Napier, right, Ben Troupe?
It's not, but I will say this: the whole Billy Napier situation. When people ask why is it important to have sources that we all can go to, because a credible source will make an announcement, and everybody who covers Florida or has some ties to Florida, and I'm not talking about you, buddy, and I'm not talking about people like you. What makes these situations hard to follow is, good Lord, it's like everybody, because like you said, you got a credible source. This is why journalism and going to journalism school and understanding journalistic integrity matters in matters like this. Because to everybody who has a pulse on the situation, we've seen this before. How have we seen this before? Well, I mean, there was another coach here. That right before the Georgia game, a lot of speculation before this Georgia game. Then you talk about the Dolphins or Wales or whatever it was. I was covering that Georgia game, and the game got out of hand, and you kind of knew what was going to happen. But what makes this situation unique is this. Everybody always wants to talk about who has all the juice, the power, the control in college athletics. It is the boosters. It's always been the boosters, and it's always going to be the boosters. And I will say this. I give Billy Napier a lot of credit because obviously, if it's going to happen, it's not going to be a surprise to him. They probably spoke to him. The class.
Oh, he's accepted. You can tell what he's talking. He knows what's coming down.
But buddy, I give him a lot of respect for the class and the professionalism that he's shown because, like I said, sometimes you get strong arm. I really don't know the full situation that happened in 2024 with Scott Strickland because it's speculation. I don't know. I just heard about it. But when you start looking at the coaches around the country that's already gotten let go, with the elephant being James Franklin, when you see that happen, that's the one that people, because boosters are watching. Yeah. And like I said, buddy, the one thing I had to learn when I was at Florida, which is definitely screaming volumes now, the two things that Florida always is going to protect, right, is the integrity of Florida and the reputation of Florida. And if any one of those gets threatened, so if it does happen Sunday, I guarantee those guys are going to play extremely hard for him no matter what the situation is going to be. Yeah. But, buddy, I've never seen this much media attention about a potential firing.
Oh, yeah.
Never. Yeah. Because, like I said, if Billy Napier has proved one thing, it is how difficult the head coaching position is at Florida. Because when people say, hey, man, does everything in Florida matter? Absolutely. 100%. So, and early signing day has a lot to do with this too. You got a lot of big time recruits that's already committed to Florida for 2026, and so you're gonna have to jump on this train sooner rather than later. Once again, I am just, I'm as a commentator, as an analyst, whatever you want to call me, when it comes to Florida, I am rooting for the orange and blue no matter what. But the situation with Billy Napier has become, I mean, it's crazy, buddy, because we're looking at what's going on around Florida in college football. And now, Scott Strickland, the biggest hire of his career. I know he hired Coach Golden. I ain't taking that away from him. But the biggest hire in his career outside of Dan Mullen is going to be who's going to be the next head coach of Florida. I don't know who it's going to be.
Well, he's not going to make that hire. That's going to be made by the boosters. Money people.
Well, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Strickland's not going to be given that. He'll get. Is Scott Strickland's tenure at Florida safe right now? I don't know. I think it's a little shaky right now. I mean, remember this: that everybody thought Jerry Foley was a great AD, and he hired so many good, great coaches. You look back at Billy Donovan, you say Steve Spurrier. No, he didn't hire Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier was hired before he became AD. And your list of, there's a long list of. Let me get back to the Cignetti story, which I think is really wonderful. There's a lesson to be learned from this. I don't know if we'll ever learn it in Florida, which is when you can't find the right coach or your own, They took this. Listen to this. Curt Cignetti has agreed on a new 8-year term contract with average annual compensation of $11.6 million. Okay, that's Indiana now. I'm not talking Auburn or Alabama, whatever. And so that's amazing. And he's going right up the ladder. He's 64 years old. I didn't see the video, but I heard it was really good today. He put out about what his plan was and where his plans are. And Billy, Billy just might have been, he may have been Sunbelt Billy, I don't mean that in the pejorative way, although it does sound that way, because in the end, now we find out that he apparently tried to hire Charlie Weiss Jr.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that because I'd been told by my sources that he was going to get a new offensive coordinator last spring, and then he didn't get one. And we all kept waiting, and now apparently he offered a job to Weiss, and Weiss turned it down. And so that made a big difference. So what's he going to do? Well, he calls the plays again, and, of course, we're not happy with the result of that. So, and then, of course, the other thing is that Billy does a terrible job of trying to explain.
Yeah.
I mean, when he gets up and starts talking about the situation, it's all gobbledygook about this, that, and the other. I did this. You can't make sense out of it. So I give the man credit for having character. I give the man credit for running a good program. I give him credit for learning, loving his players, whatever. But you got to do more than just love your players. You've got to win somehow, some way. And Florida has lost winnable games. We all know that. But here's the irony of it. Here we are, homecoming, 60 straight sellout. Homecoming. And we're talking about firing the coach. Okay?
Well, buddy, it's so many ways to look at this situation, but I do my best to try to be as even keel and level-headed as I possibly can. If you are Billy Napier, with everything that he does, I mean, from when he first got here, he made sure he addressed, the living conditions, the parking situations, making sure that guys understood who the janitor was, they know everybody in the building. But just like I know, buddy, Coach Spurrier is not Coach Spurrier without the wins. Urban Meyer is not Urban Meyer without the wins. So as great of a person that Billy Napier could be and probably is, buddy, we live this is a bottom line business, especially and this is no shade. This is no shade. What goes on with other colleges around the country is not the same thing at Florida. Florida is the flagship university in the state of Florida. Florida is the biggest brand in the state of Florida. Florida has the most fans in the state of Florida, and you are trying to protect those all the time. So Billy Napier was a guy that had the opportunity. What hurt him the most in 2025 is what we kept talking about, buddy. 2024, you end up 8-5 with the hardest schedule in the country. So you had all the momentum coming in 2025. You got your quarterback, you bringing in VB3 and Dallas Wilson, you're flipping guys, and you lose to USF. You can't do that, right? You beat Texas. You was in the game against Miami and LSU. I mean, you were
winnable game. Yeah, winnable games.
And I think the thing is, buddy, like I said, you can speak to this better than me. If they hire you for a certain reason and you never meet that expectation and you're not winning, it doesn't take away what you had the potential to do, but that's the crazy thing about potential, right? Most of us have it. Most of us will never live up to it, and it's a dangerous place to be. The only way the confidence is built is through evidence. What evidence do we have about Billy Napier right now is he's a player's coach who the players love, who won't relinquish play calling, and right now, the misuse of talent is going to be on him. Every coach and every player came through here you approved of. You signed off on it. So if it's not going the way we thought, buddy, Florida can ill afford for its integrity, reputation, and brand to continue to take a dip. They can't do it. That's any big brand. If you've ever been a part of a big brand, they're going to say, dude, we can't do that because perception right now is all we have. The reality of the situation is ugly, but we still winning we still selling out at 2-4. So the fans are still doing their part, but I'm just going to be very, very interested. The two most appealing hires in 2025 is going to be Penn State second and Florida first, and that's if the decision does happen on Sunday. But I mean, buddy, how has the Post been? Because I do my best to listen, but how has the Post been around Florida media when it comes to this? Because this is crazy. Like it has been a frenzy since that I guess the first news popped off about the decision has already been made.
Yeah. So I sent you a message there from Brendan. Check it out if you would. Ben Troupe, 84 Reasons. We're going to have Franz on later. Three other basketball players in Florida made their preseason All-SEC team. And we'll have Franz on to discuss that. Plus, his new book is about to be out soon, The Golden Season, which I think you'll find really good, really interesting detail. And then we've got sitting in tonight our friend Rob Brown will be joining us, talking about what's happening at Auburn and Hugh Freeze. I want to be sure to mention last night we had Kelly Ray on the show, and it was a terrific show. She was talking about her event tonight at the Cade Museum, where they're having the women basketball players do a fashion show. And I just got it over from Freddie Weeby, and I thought I had a picture. I was going to try to run it. It's a sold-out event. It's sold-out event, which is terrific. I'm glad because it's NIL money for them. And that's good news. That's good to know. We will be having Franz on in just a moment here, and we'll tell you more information about that. Other news today. Let's see what we got going on here. I told you about Vanderbilt being favored for an SEC game, the first time since 1978. I told you we have 3 men's basketball players named preseason All-SEC team Monday. I'll tell you who they are in just a minute. But remember back how ridiculous it was when Jake Slaughter couldn't even make the All-SEC preseason team a couple of years ago, and he made All-American. Wow. So Florida fans have started a website, okay? Some of you folks who are Zookators might remember this, and this is one which I think you'll understand why. There are people mad at everybody. They're mad at mad at Strickland. They're mad at the Belly. They're mad at everybody. Mad at the Gator Nation. And the guy who's drawing a lot of the ire right now is Scott Strickland. This, by the way, was not an accident. This was a made up. This is not a real sign. But I thought this was pretty interesting. This is a shot that came on today, which you might recognize that. You remember that one? Yeah. Workham Silly sign. They painted it in Fire Scott Strickland. So I remember it was a Fire Ron Zook sign up there too. So, So Ben Troupe is going to be rejoining us in just a moment. Let me see if I can jag this out of here. I hear you, Ben. Or coming. All right. Let's see if I can go get Ben. There's Franz. Right there. Hang on, Franz. I'm coming to get you. There's Franz. Hello, good evening. Let me go back and find Ben. He's up here somewhere too. How you doing, Francis?
I'm here. So are you.
Yeah, so am I. Yeah, I understand they have a packed house tonight at the Women's Basketball Fashion Show at the Cade Museum. And Kelly Ray is raising some money for their players. Congratulations to them. Freddie Weeby sent me a video of it. So, NIL money, you know how that goes. All right, now I'm going to go get Ben. He's over here somewhere. He's right here. Okay. There he is right there. What's up, man? What's up, Franz? How you guys doing, buddy? Having a conversation here. We had to try to get Ben over to a better.
Am I good now?
You're good now. You're perfect right now. Always use that one. That was great.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best not to be cheap in 2025. I did go get some updated updated technology.
Yeah.
But my daddy don't like it. My daddy say, "Boy, you use what you got." I said, "No, Daddy, I got to come into 2025."
No,
I
it's
got to get out of the
definitely that. Yeah. Brendan said you had a better one. So Francis got his hat on. You got your hat on. I got my Gatorade hat on. How about Franz Curt Cignetti, his new contract? He's off the board now. Florida was owned of him. So how about that nice contract they gave him? Indiana football. Wow.
Well, the thing is he's won everywhere he's ever been and won big. And he's part of the Nick Saban coaching tree. And, it's hard to have something better than that on your resume, it seems, although Billy Napier was also on that same one. So he's got a good pedigree and he's won big. I personally really liked him. I liked the brashness. He has a very Spurrier-esque personality. He's the kind of guy that would look up at Tennessee and say, the greatest pickup line in Knoxville is to look at a woman and say, "Nice tooth." I mean, he would do something like that. And you got to love a guy that would do that. But I don't blame him. Indiana has the all-time worst record of any team in the Big Ten, and this is their moment to shine, buddy.
They were a basketball school every night for so many years. And by the way, let me just mention that a little bit of a surprise. A guy we know, somebody's volume is up too high. Whoever it is, and the news tonight is not good for Mike Hill. He was fired at Charlotte. Remember, he was assistant AD here for a long time. Always liked Mike. He'd been AD at Charlotte for 7 years, and so now he's out of a job. A lot of firing going on, guys, right now. It's the firing season. Who's going to be next? It might be right here on Gale Amaran Boulevard. It happens, and Smart Money says something's going to happen this weekend. I had a source I told Ben earlier today, and I'm going to give full credit to Matt Hayes, who had a story that ours had nothing to do with his, but he did break a story earlier than we did on the fact that there's some movement in that direction, and there definitely is going to be a change. Here's what I know, and I said it earlier. I said that a group of boosters met Wednesday night, I believe it was, at Spurs Gridiron Grill. The ones that counted, they met, and I don't know what was said, but I know that they did say the money is there now. It's time to go. They're going to agreement. Now it's a question of they're going to buy Billy out, and then they're going to negotiate whatever they can do. I don't know if that means he'll stay coach or what they'll do, how much they'll pay him. 21-3 is about what he's owed, but deals can be made for less money, better deal, and then we'll see what happens there. But some will happen next, and anybody's guess. I don't know. The favorite obviously is in Knoxford. We'll see what happens there. I don't know. What do you guys heard?
I've heard that if he makes it through this weekend, we're talking about changing water into wine proportions, essentially. That sounds a little harsh, I know, but we've got boosters. I know because I've talked to some of them who say not another dime until Billy Napier's gone. Mm-hmm. And judging by his Monday performance at his press conference, and I've talked to some people who are really close to the program, they agreed with me. It was as subdued as it could be, the kind of press conference held by a guy that knows that his time has been called. His time clock has been punched.
Lame duck, yeah, is the word.
Yeah, he's a lame duck. So, is it this weekend? I don't know. I hear that it will. That when I've heard from prominent people that win or lose Saturday, he's gone. And the logic behind it, I know, for example, Bianchi said today, you can't fire a guy after he's won. Well, here's where I disagree.
How about Jimbo Fisher?
Here's where I
Jimbo
disagree
Fisher
with
got fired.
Mikey on this, buddy. You don't take a chance that he might win this game and then beat Georgia, and all of a sudden he's 4-4 with Kentucky coming up, and could be 5-4, needing one game to be bowl eligible, and maybe maybe he gets 2. So you cannot take a chance that he goes in on a winning streak. You just can't do that.
That's a funny line. Think about it. Can't take it goes chance he goes on a winning streak, right? Oh no, not a winning streak, please. Yeah, Ben, what do you think? I think it's also a good time because of the open date. Make the change then.
It's such a crazy situation because Billy Napier understands that this roller coaster known as Billy Napier, no matter what, just say he did the unthinkable and just won out. This offseason will be just as crazy because I think 2024 gave him the greatest mulligan you can ever have. Going 8-5 with that schedule was crazy, right? But 2-4, lost to USF, which can happen. I not to compare the two, but I keep saying this. My last 2 years of Florida, I had runs up. I thought the 8-5. I said, dude, we gonna be the worst teams ever came through Florida. We losing 5 games. I lost 5 games in 2 years of Coach Spurrier, and then, obviously, 2004 happens, and you lose to Mississippi State, and obviously he was gonna, he's fired. He goes and then runs the coach the whole year. Billy Napier understands what Florida is. He understands what being the head coach of Florida means. And sometimes it just doesn't work. It's not going to work for most coaches at most schools. Let's just put it out there. But what makes this situation different is the Scott Strickland stuff is crazier, I think, than Billy Napier. Because maybe I'm naive, Buddy and Franz. I didn't even know Booster could do that. Get out the way. Move. You shoot. Because like I said, I know that boosters run college athletics. I didn't know how much power they really had in that regard because, like I said, this goes back to 22. All these 30 for 30s, when Urban Meyer 30 for 30 come out, when Steve'sburger 30 for 30 come out, when the Scott Strickland, Billy Napier 30 for 30 come out, and we really know what happened in Spurrier in 2024, if that really happened, because I think sometimes we forget where our bread is butter, or however you say it. And them boosters said, you gonna do what? No, we're not. I don't want Lane Kiffin. We're not talking to you, Billy. Yes, no. You are the head coach because of us. I don't care who hired you. Without the money, there is no coach. So when they said that about the boosters, I think a lot of people stood up and was like, you want to know who runs college athletics? It ain't the commissioner. It ain't a chancellor or a GM or a AD. It's the booster. So,
well, especially right now, Ben, where money is king. Where money, this whole thing has changed a lot in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
I mean, money used to be big. Now money's everything. And you can buy your way to whatever you want to buy, be, and so on and so forth. And I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people, and we didn't even know some of the boosters' name back in the day. We heard of one, we knew one here and there, Ben Griffin, etc. But now you know the big guys and what they want. So, look, it's $0. They want to spend them, but the ads have to listen to them because they got to have the money. They can't pay their players, they can't run their program, and it costs a lot of money in college to be a college football coach, player, and whatever today.
But buddy, you know what's crazy? Just imagine, Buddy Martin and Franz Beard, they went to Texas for 10 years and somebody let them get some of that oil money. They got old hundreds to burn. And somebody go, what you gonna do with all this money? And one of your billionaire friends and somebody go, dude, we boosters. What you mean? Dude, like, do you know what we really do? We don't buy yachts.
We boost.
We got nice boats. We got nice boats in Florida. We don't need no yacht. What we want college football teams. You could do that? What you mean? We've been doing it. We used to have private meetings in a bunker. Now we can go to Spurrier's. Because who's going to say something? Like, who's going to out the booster? Nobody. So when people going, them boosters are faceless people. No, they're not faceless. No, they're not nameless, but you don't want to come at the booster because the booster's going, look, people say you get what you pay for in college football, and that is literally and figuratively. If you are Billy Napier, the greatest thing ever happened to you was coming to Florida. A $21 million cash out. It's hard to feel sorry when you're going to get that much money. I wish it would have worked out, but I'm going to tell you what hurt Billy Napier more than anything. It is not what he didn't do at Florida. It is not losing the USF. It's the other guy that came from the Sun Belt, Eli Drinkwitz. That's what hurt him the most because they saying, wait a minute, did he come from the Sun Belt too? Yeah, and he's winning at Mizzou. So if it's going to be over, which it probably is, if you are Billy Napier, the one thing I wish he would have done, and buddy, I know you don't care. He didn't give you the sit down. It's little things about coaches that I'm learning, and I'm like, what could it have hurt? Sitting down with you, and buddy, I know you're not gonna say these things, but there are certain. If I'm the head coach of Florida, the first thing I'm asking is, okay, what do the other coaches do that's just a part of a Florida tradition, even with the media? And he never done it. And like I said, at least. The one thing when everything was going on with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville, the one thing, buddy, he had was you to say, well, I really know the guy. Like, I'm not telling you what I think. I don't think there's a person in the media that could really write something about Buddy write something about Billy that's surface level. You can't really go deep with him because he wouldn't let you. No. And like I said, it's a former player is just like a former coach. What they said about you when you gone, it's how they felt about you when you was here. And I don't think he's gonna get that. It's little. I know he don't care about what I say. He's gonna get $21 million, not counting the money he already got. But I just think that he did himself a disservice by doing what he did with the media because that's all you got when you talk about the Voice or your poll. So, hey man, we'll see what happens come Saturday. But the Florida, we sold out. We're gonna have on them old school unis. They're gonna be out there decked out, looking nice, and everybody's gonna be watching ESPN when the game ends. When Florida versus Mississippi State is, people at ESPN gonna be like, dude, we getting flooded by 352 people. But yeah, that's Florida. That's Gainesville. We gonna be watching like this on that bottom, including my mama. My mama gonna be watching because when I told my mom, she said. I said, Mama, I think they're going to get rid of Billy. They said, Billy Napier, when? I said, Mama, you're not supposed to be excited about that. But she was, my mama. But I will be watching, though. I just think it's one of the most peculiar situations I've ever seen in college football.
Yeah, it really is.
Hey, man, it's crazy.
Well said. Now, thank you for that comment about my interview. It didn't have anything to do with it, but that's okay. Now, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a break. We're going to do this spot. And I'm going to tell you something I've been holding out on for 4 years. Then I'm going to tell you what happened with me, my first meeting with Billy Napier. And I kind of knew I was in trouble. I never made my peace with him. I don't blame him for anything other than the fact he just wasn't good enough. He just wasn't good enough. He couldn't make it happen. He thought he could call plays like, Nick Saban. He can't, etc. Anyway, we'll talk about all that. I want you guys to be thinking. Tell me at least one, maybe two reasons you think Billy Napier failed. Well, I tell you about somebody who succeeded and someone who was there all the time. And there's a QR code right there on if I can get this up. So we'll talk about our friends at Meldon Law. There's a QR code. If you want to know more about them, just put your phone up there and get that. It'll tell you what you need to know if you're looking for it. I got to tell you, I have a triumphant word tonight. I've had a lawsuit through Meldon and their people for 14 months. 14 months against a company that would screw me over. Today it got settled, and I won the case. Okay? Yay. So there you go. I mean, I didn't get rich. I just trying to get my house fixed. And they tried to screw me, and guess what? Meldon said, let me give you some help. And it was a long haul, but we won. And it's just proof right again that you go with good people, they're good Gators. And, of course, if you don't know Jeffrey, you're missing out. He's a special person. And he loves following the Gators, and especially basketball. His friend Todd Golden, and, of course, he's sad about the football. But Jeffrey Meldon's a special guy. And his family now, he's got a bunch of Meldons over there working. They have an office down in South Florida in addition to the four in Ocala, Gainesville, Wilson, Lake City, and they also have over 50 attorneys now. So if you have a need and you're a Gator, all the more reason why you should contact Meldon Law. There's a QR code, and find out if they can help you like they helped me. All right, here's the deal. I'm gonna share something with you that was very personal, something I thought about not saying, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it because I was gonna wait till Billy got fired. When I was up there, Franz, we were sitting together at the first press conference.
Yeah.
I always try to make a little bit of an impression, at least let people know I'm there. I mean, Urban Meyer told me the day he met me at the first press conference is the day he decided he wanted to know more about who I was. Billy Napier could care less if I would, and that's fine. But what got me was, if you remember, Franz, we were sitting in the front row. Billy and his wife and kids came in. I watched his kids, and I made a comment when I asked the question. Your kids are well behaved. And he laughed and said, well, you should see them on other days, whatever. Trying to break the ice, right? Something, anything. So I waited, I asked my question. And then when we got up to walk to the water fountain, I walked over to Billy and said, this is the simplest question. What's your favorite scripture? All right. I think you guys could have come up with something if they asked you that. I don't care what it is. And Billy looked at me and said, I don't know. There are a lot of them. That's not an answer. And he perfected the art of not giving answers for 4 years. And you heard him do it, Franz, many times. Probably you have too, Ben. I heard him the other day. We had Kevin Brockway, and Kevin Brockway asked a question about a problem they had with one of the players and the fans in the water. Billy addressed it like he didn't hear the question. He just made a comment like, what is he talking about? He perfected the art, as you said, Franz, of saying words without telling what they mean. So that was the thing for me and Billy. I don't know. I'm not saying he should have gotten fired, but I was curious because having had a relationship with most of the coaches, I'm not your best buddy. I don't call them at night at home and chew the fat, but I have access to most of them. And I hope I've been respected. And I ask a simple question and I get blown off like that. That told me right there something wasn't right, which is basically what he's decided. He was not going to tell people really what he was about. He didn't want people to know who he was, and that's what it told me. All right, there was a big event tonight. I didn't think this guy was going to be on. A big event tonight. Kelly Finley had their big night. A color's called Eleve, I'm sorry, is what it's called. And it was a big fashion show. I got a nice note today from Freddie Weeby. Said our interview last night with Kelly Ray was the reason they sold it out. I don't know if that's true, but I'll take it. Let's talk to a guy real quick who was there. Didn't expect him to be here. I thought he was going to be too busy. But let's just let him jump on real fast and get a word from Loren Meadows. And then we also got our friend Rob Brown coming up too. So even though, Loren, how was the event? Hang on a second. Let me get this thing off of here. One more time. It's acting up on me. All right, let's try it again. Oh, Loren, how you doing?
How you doing, buddy? Sorry for the miscommunication. I tried to text you, let you know I'll be on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
I always got time for you. Always.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're into a conversation about what are we talking about, guys? About Billy's authenticity and his inability to articulate what he says. And you help me out there, man. What were we just talking about?
I mean, the one thing we didn't get to was, you was talking about, you was going to ask me and Franz, and now that Loren is on, what are two things about Billy that he didn't do? Like, what are the two things he didn't do?
Why did you fail? Why don't you start, Ben, and go to Franz? I'll let Loren do his two.
I think the two things that stand out the most to me about Billy Napier, why he didn't succeed, was the two A's. He didn't adapt, he didn't adjust at all. And when you don't adapt and adjust, you're going to lose. I'm talking about things like, how much a slap in the face it is when you say, well, I tried to hire one offensive coordinator. But what about other ones? You could have tried to, I tried to hire one guy. He said no. Okay. So now you tried to hire a dude. And adjusting is something that Loren is always talking about. We had a Monday through Friday problem because they showed on Saturday. I get how the practice became, but the third, I said adapt and adjust, but the third was access. There was something about the way Billy Napier wanted to keep everybody away, and I get all these coaches are superstitious. All of them got their quirks and they things they do, but there's a reason why he kept people away. He didn't want you asking anything about the team for real. What you think we're gonna ask you? We ask you about what's going on. I'm not gonna ask about an availability list, which I don't even know what it is. Is that a injury list? Just give me the guys that ain't playing. Like, I don't like when people try to reinvent stuff. If I come to the stadium, I'm like, Coach, I ain't seen my name. No, you on the availability list. Does that mean I'm up? Does that mean I'm playing? Yeah. Oh, okay. Because it used to be who's playing, who's not. So I would go adapt and adjust availability and access, because Billy Napier got paid a lot of money. More people know Billy Napier in 4 years than he's ever known in his career. And that happens when you come to Florida. That's nothing against him, but it's not for nothing good. Because like I said, one of my former teammates, Steve Harris, said he took his daughter. He lives in Tampa. He took his daughter to a dentist appointment or something. And he said the guy took him in the back and looked at him and said, "Oh, you went to Florida?" He said, "Yeah, the guy went, go Bulls." Oh, hell no. I'm just saying, like when that type of stuff has happened, I lived in Tampa for 4 years. And the last thing a USF Bull gonna say is anything to a Florida Gator. And now, so it's little stuff, but I was adapting and adjusting, access and availability. But hey, man, it happens to the best, I guess.
Franz?
I think that what killed him in the end is that Billy only trusts Billy. And Billy can talk all he wants to about everybody, about great assistant coaches and whatever like that. I think it really comes down to the only person he really trusts is himself, which is why he isn't willing to give up play calling himself, etc. like that. I think that was the first thing, is he didn't trust him. He did not trust beyond himself, or the number of people that he actually did trust was very, very few and far between. The second reason I think that he did was he tried to keep everything too behind closed doors. Wasn't transparent enough. You run a program where there's no access, where there's no availability, where you don't get stories about players, etc. People start wondering, what are you trying to hide, particularly when you lose games. And they say, well, gee, they're winning games over here, and they get, their players are interviewed all the time, etc. People may say that that's just an old reporter sour grapes, okay? I hear that all the time, but it isn't sour grapes. The thing I find out is the coaches who tend to give a lot of access, they trust their players play hard for them. The coaches who keep it all under wraps, okay, you don't have access, you can't, let me give you one quick example. And Loren, you were there a couple of years ago, I believe it was, in Tallahassee. And this was, they came out of the game. They had just lost the game. I'm coming out of there, and the guy who was the strength coach at the time comes up to me and starts talking to me, and I start talking to him. I'm talking to him back, and he brings a player over. He says, this guy, and he brings over Scooby Williams. He says, this guy's really going to be a star, and I hope you'll write something about him. And I shook his hand. About this time, along comes Rick Hurtado, who is the SID. And he screams at me about, how dare you talk to a player? And I said, hey, I got spoken to first. I didn't, I just responded to that. He says, you know how bad this makes me look in front of my coach? Whoa, you're worried about if the coach sees me talking to to one of his assistants? he's going to blame you, and you're going to be in trouble.
That's a joke. That was absolutely a joke. Ridiculous.
No, it wasn't a joke.
No, I mean, I'm saying it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it
absurd.
is ridiculous. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, I don't mean it's funny. I mean,
that's the kind of thing.
Yeah.
That it shows you that for all this supposedly it's all fun and games and everybody it's a group hug at the Hev.
Gotcha.
Guess what? They walk on pins and needles if that's the case.
Exactly. All right, let me do this. I'm gonna let Ben go. He's been here early for a long time, and then we go back to doing the final. I'm gonna get Loren's thoughts on that. Any final thought, Ben? Any final thoughts? Oh, look at there. Love it, man. Looking good.
I just want to say before I get out of here that your Rays was just as bad as my Braves this year. You didn't really have a lot to say this year. And I'm happy about that. No, I'm gonna say that. Like we both was bad. Like we both were equally bad. Yeah. But because we got a Yankees fan on here, the MLB did what only the MLB did, and we took down the evil empire known as the Yankees. So now I'm good. As long as the evil empire is not good. No, man, listen, love you guys. I will be saying this. Everybody that's everybody that roots for Florida, root against Florida, everybody gonna be watching the end of Florida and Mississippi State because they're gonna be seeing, is it really? I have never seen this level of anticipation for a firing.
16 straight sellouts. Another sellout.
You know what?
We got to run, guys. We're going to do it fast.
You want to know why they sold it out? Because 15 years from now, there will be 197,000 people who will swear up and down they were there the day Billy Napier coached his last game at the University of Florida. It'll be just like the number of people who swear that they were there when Roger Maris hit number 61.
Yeah, I was there. Ben, thank you, Ben. I'll say good night to you. And hello to Rob. Thank you, Ben Troupe.
Yes, sir.
All right, so it's Loren's turn now. Good evening to Rob. Loren, I'm going to give you a chance to step up here and respond to what we said, one of the 1 or 2 reasons that Billy fails.
It's funny, man. I tell people all the time, do you listen to music or do you just skim through it? I mean, if you've been watching us for the last 4 years, I think we got some astute guys between Buddy, Franz, Rob Brown, Brendan Martin, and Ben Troupe, and it all remains the same. It's a lack of adaptability, a lack of access, but I think you could sum it up. Billy made the easy things hard. Kickoff team, 11 guys run out. Kickoff team, 11 guys run out. Punt, 11 guys run out. But it was never that easy. It was never that easy to sub and do these things. The things that should be normal for a high-level college football team just never came to pass. And when you look at a guy that has only won 4 road games, it shows you that the lack of preparation is consistent and evident week to week. And
good preparations.
I just think that just when you look at, for all the things that we were told about no detail, no stuff. I mean, we heard these things, buddy. You asked the very first question of Billy Napier at his first press conference. I remember it. And it was, everything was going to be detail oriented down to the number. And we heard all these things. And from day one, we didn't get any of it. So I just think that, like I said, I agree with Franz, adaptability, access, and then just making the simple very hard. Just
very good. Let's bring in Rob. And Rob, we're going to ask you a question about Hugh Freeze tonight, too. Thanks for coming on board tonight, Rob, from that popular show in the morning with some guy named Brendan Martin. I believe it's called SEC Sidelines. And congratulations on all your success you've had. Share your thoughts on the failure for Billy, and then give us an update on Hugh Freeze.
Well, it started out, I mean, Franz, you know this, Loren, Ben, Buddy. He never talked to you. First thing, you're the gatekeeper with Florida. You are the patriarch, like Lauren Smith is at Georgia, like David Housel at Auburn. And it's annoying. And lack of access. Everything Loren and Franz said are right. And then you look at Todd Golden with basketball. Look what he does. I mean, Franz, ready for that book? I'm going to get you on next week to talk about your book. If were you at, I don't know if you were at media days, but Billy Napier, I think he's a smart guy. Well, I mean, Ellis Johnson's known him since he was 21, but y'all are right.
He went to college.
Yeah, he went to college. But I mean, you've been there 4 years. You know, it takes one sip from a bottle of wine to know if it's a good bottle. I mean, you saw that first season and then the second season. And I thought the Gators would win 10 this year. I connected the dots, the roster and everything. But, you know, DJ Lagway got hurt. He was pushing this summer. He missed so many reps. Loren and I had Roman Harper. I was on Loren's show Tuesday night. And Roman talked about it. Coach Pete Cordelli, my friend who coached with Holtz forever, was on, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And he said, Billy got hurt. DJ Lagway got hurt. Just little things like that. But then the other problems are, where's your depth? Well, it's down the road at UCF or USF, or it's somewhere else. And it just seems like the real thing was these coaches that say they're going to bring in an offensive coordinator, but their egos are so big. If he went after Charlie Weiss Jr. and he didn't get him, what was his second? What was his third go-to guy? You can't just have one guy. And you know what? Same thing is going on with Hugh Freeze. What he does doesn't work anymore. And he cannot come to grips with that. He looks like the defeated man. Remember the character Debbie Downer on Saturday Night Live? That looks like the female version of Debbie Downer. He whines and bitches about officiating. Everybody with a set of eyes knows there have been some bad calls. But as the head coach, you can't talk about it. You got to move on. And I don't know, Billy, these guys are right. You thought he won 41 games at Louisiana. It's just not happening. You have every resource in the world at Florida. You have a big, big deal. And a friend of mine was at Spurrier's, Gridiron Grill last night, and there was a big meeting going on upstairs. And who knows what's going on up there? I think they love the steaks and the seafood, though. But Maury said, by the way, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, he said, I've never seen anything like that.
He said he loved it.
He said he loved
it. Freddie Weeby gave him a good tour.
He said Freddie Weeby was awesome.
Can I ask a question, buddy?
Yeah.
Real quick. And this is to you guys, how much I respect your knowledge of everything. But can we really be honest with ourselves and say that this is far more than just an offensive coordinator problem? Yeah. I mean, we're seeing a pattern here, and it has very little to do. I think it's like people want to talk about the offensive coordinator, but did we forget that the defense was historically bad his first 2 years? I mean, it's like this is, you had offense, you had defense, you had special teams. It's been bad for 4 years, and we tried to be objective and positive, but let's face it. I mean, it's been bad.
I think you have concluded he's an average coach.
Beg your pardon?
I think I've concluded he's just an average coach.
Yeah.
Here's what I would conclude. I would conclude that the Peter principle is alive and well.
Could be.
Because he got promoted beyond his capabilities. And there's a lot of guys that can, it's like you see some of these great high school coaches and they suddenly get a small college job and all of a sudden they're not having that same success. And why is it? It's because everything that's involved, for example, at Louisiana, go back to the colleges instead, but everything that's involved in Louisiana is romper room compared to the University of Florida. He's dealing with kids that, at Louisiana, if you're breathing, you can get in school. At the University of Florida, guess what? The academics are pretty damn serious. It's the number one public institution in America for a reason.
We're running out of time here. I'm going to ask you, since you're up there, Rob, real quick, I'll give you 30 seconds on Hugh Freeze, and then give me what you think the best hire is for Florida for a coach.
Well, I think Freeze, just if they don't beat Missouri, you got to say, what have you done? 3 years in, no signature wins. I have 350 to 400 texts every time Auburn plays coming into me, 15 different group texts. It's crickets now. Auburn's in the apathy stage, so change is coming. As far as Florida goes, if you're not going to get Curt Cignetti, you got to look at people that know the South.
Well, he's gone. He re-upped.
Yeah, I know he re-upped. So, I mean, for now. But, I mean, I would look hard at John Sumrall, Rhett Lashley. I mean, Arkansas will make a look at him, but they're going to try to keep Petrino. But you've got to get a guy that's had success, that is a great recruiter, but is a people person. The University of Florida has a massive fan base, and greet the people, open the doors. It's a public university. God bless America. The sunshine laws apply in politics. Open up the doors, bring people back to practice. Ask them, hey man, we forgive you as administrators. We want the people like Charlie Pell did. Say what you want about that guy. I think he was the greatest ambassador for Florida football ever because of what he did for just Joe Sixpack out there. Put on your orange and blue. I don't care if you went to school here or not. So I'd get someone like that.
You got to run fast, Franz. You get a minute, and then Loren, how old is you? A minute? Go.
I think that Saturday's going to be the last game for Billy Napier here. Win or lose, I think it is, and I think that they can't afford to keep him on if he wins, because what happens if he goes on a winning streak? They've decided to fire him, but then all of a sudden they're going to have to back out, and there would be too many unhappy boosters for that. He's got to go, unfortunately. Nice guy, as Brett McMurphy wrote, maybe the best coach in America from Sunday to Thursday. But unfortunately, the games are played on Saturday, and they expect you to win.
Yeah. Don't forget Franz's book coming out soon. We'll talk about it later. It's a great book. It's called The Golden Season. Loren, you got a minute.
People will love Lane Kiffin. People will accept Eli Drinkowitz. I think there's a really good coach down in Tampa that I've seen in person operate, and I think he would do a great job. He runs a great offense. I think it'd be fun to watch. And I think the guy would put really good people around him to coach a football team, and that's Alex Golish. So if we have to go to the next tier, I think he's a guy that I have a lot of respect for. Josh Heupel. He comes from that tree, and I think I think it would be it's not a slam dunk, but it'd be a damn good football coach.
All right, thanks guys, great job, appreciate it. All right, we'll see you on Saturday. Have a good one. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Franz. And thanks, Loren. Well, thank you, Ben, as well. All right. Good night, guys.
Thank you.
All right. We'll wrap this up with a message from Titan MRI, who was one of our fine sponsors. We do appreciate them so much. And tell you a little about their locations in Gainesville. They have two. New Park Avenue location and now Millennium Center. One in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI Imaging offers the same great customer service. You can actually make your appointments at night if you can't get your MRI. And today you have to work. Accept insurance, or you can go to their convenient self-pay option. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds, easy scheduling, as I said. I like this part about it. They have the larger MRI machines for your patient comfort. That's what I like. I don't like to be claustrophobic. Coming soon to Ocala, but it's served Marion County. Titan MRI. It's your choice. Thanks, folks. Thanks to our guest tonight with the guys, and we'll see you. Be watching this weekend, and don't forget to join GatorBait, GatorBait.com, and read what the pros like to read. All right, and we will catch up to you again soon, right here on the Buddy Martin Show. Tell your friends and neighbors we're back next week, and don't forget to read GatorBait. Good night.